Listen. Am I on? Is my mic on? Can you hear me? Hi. Thank you for being here in person. The weather's terrible out there, and you made it anyway. So those of you who are here are either sheltering from the storm and you don't know where you are, or you're dear friends of mine. So thank you for being here. I actually don't agree. I don't need any more audience than I've already got. I get too many emails from people as it is. Stop emailing me, everyone. I have a lot going on. Anyway, if you don't know me, my name is Gary Hughes, and this is my 4th or 5th time here in the Adorama event space. I'm also a host of Adorama TV, and we're joined right now on the Adorama events channel. So if you're watching now, just go ahead and share this immediately, because this is going to do what I do best, which is I'm going to show you how to use very, very practical steps in photography to make more money. If you want to learn how to take better pictures, I'm not your guy. That's your guy right there. Adorama has incredible hosts that will help you become a more interesting photographer. I'll help you become a photographer who can one day retire. And that is my goal in life. Does that sound pretty good? That's pretty good. All right. It all comes born of necessity. I have 4 college funds to pay for, and I also would like to retire myself one day. So that's what we're going to do. And so it's a weird world out there for photography right now. I am primarily a headshot photographer. If you haven't seen me before, I photograph about 7,000 to 10,000 headshots a year, depending, most in a high volume situation. So there are some really great jobs out there. If you can photograph 300 headshots a day, there's some really good work out there for you. And we'll answer that some questions about all that business stuff later. I want to get into the practical side of it. We're gonna do a pretty basic lighting setup here. I'm going to show you something that's pretty cool. We're going to get mildly technical, and we're going to actually do some printing, because printing, this box right here, this beautiful little device, is going to help you make more money if you choose to use it. So what I'm going to demonstrate is how I set up a headshot booth, a photo booth. There's going to any kind of event, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a mitzvah, whatever you're doing, whether it's a quinceañera. Did I say that anywhere close to correct? Was that good? Thank you, Joseph. And then I'm going to show you how to instantly print on demand and deliver digital files at the same time, single-handedly, without the aid of a beautiful assistant. I'm going to be my own beautiful assistant. Does that sound all right? And also, thank you for the snapping. It's a very respectful way to acknowledge how good I'm doing right now. I appreciate you. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to have y'all be the models. There's no model. I think what happens is, you ever been in a workshop and you're watching somebody like Gavin Hoey just photograph a beautiful woman, and you're like, of course, anyone could make them look good. He's not even that talented. Look how beautiful that model is. Well, I like to photograph just normal people, just everyday, just really average-looking middle-aged men, just to show how talented I am. You, sir, would you mind being a model for me? Come on up. Yes, that's true. What's your name, sir?
I'm Gavin.
Nice to meet you. Gavin Hoey, everybody. Welcome. Come on down. All right. We've been having a lot of fun today. We are both hosts for Adorama TV. Gavin is a phenomenal photographer and educator, and he's been letting me use his light meter all day, which is really exciting. So let's get down to gear first before we do this. And I also want to say thank you to Fujifilm for providing me the camera equipment so I didn't have to travel with it, Adorama for having me here today, and then DNP Photo Imaging for this beautiful printer that I did not have to bring all the way from Florida. They actually delivered this here. I have this exact same one at home, though. This is the one that I actually use on my events. And I made a list on Adorama. This is a wish list. Please don't buy it for me. Buy it for yourself if you want it. But this is all the relevant gear to the printing portion of the shoot. This is going to be the printer and all the other things that I'm using that are relevant to the printing part of it. So go ahead, and you don't have to even look that up right now. Guess what? When this is over, you can go back, you watch it again, and you can just scan that QR code as many times as you want. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere yet. You're not going to buy that printer right this second. You got to see what it does first. So here's the concept. I'm going to use these pieces of software in order to deliver digital files and prints at the same time. So we're going to shoot tethered into Capture One, and I'm going to deliver the digital files using Headshot Tools. And by the way, just for full disclosure, Headshot Tools is a software that I owned part of. So it's a software that I helped create. And so feel free to use something else that works better for you. It's just not going to be as good. All right, so then we're also going to use, this is really what ties the whole thing together, is DNP has created a cool little piece of single serving software. It's called the DNP Hot Folder Print. And basically all it's going to do, it's going to sit there, it's going to wait for you to feed it a file, and then it's going to spit it right out of the printer. Fingers crossed. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to refine the process a little more in using an item. This is the Stream Deck Neo, also on that list. And this is just going to make it really, really easy for you to do this with one push of a button to do digital files and prints, instant delivery for both. So here's the workflow. The workflow is going to be, we're going to be photographing with our Fujifilm X-H2, going to be tethered into Capture One. And from Capture One, without adding any really additional software, we're going to shoot the files both to Headshot Tools, and we're going to shoot it to the DNP hot folder print. And we're going to do that all from this same station. And so just so we know, in case I'm talking about, I don't know what level everybody out there in TV land is on and what y'all are in, but the concept is that both of these pieces of software, both Headshot Tools and DNP hot folder print, both use what's called a watch folder. So essentially, once you start this program running, you point it at a folder, and whatever images you put in that folder, it's going to do what it needs to do with that image. It's going to be automated. Once you get it rolling, all you have to do is put the files there, and then the software is going to take it the rest of the way. That automation process is how we're going to do it. I'm going to show you how that works. You don't have to worry about that right this second. So let's go ahead and tether up and start with our software, Capture One. And before we do this, Gavin, I'm going to have you, do you have your phone with you? No. Okay, all right. You want me to get my phone? You don't have to. Come on over here. I'm going to have you sign in. So I'll use mine. That'll be easy. So we're going to use this, start with Headshot Tools, okay? And out there in streaming land, feel free to put your questions in the comments. And this is what happens is, since this is live streaming, a bunch of the people watching, they're going to go ahead and just sign into Headshot Tools. I know that they are, and we'll get to see them do that. So if you would, please, Mr. Hoey, just fill that out. So we're just scanning the QR code that Headshot Tools automatically creates, and this is going to add users to the system. So we're going to have this is called the dashboard queue, and you will see that start to populate as people fill out that form, use that QR code to sign in. And Seth is going to drop a link to that in the chat there. So we're going to wait for that. And I'll go back to Capture One real quick. As soon as you're done with that, Gavin, you can just head back to your mark. So Capture One is the tethering software. It is the commercial photography standard. You will not go into a commercial set and see anybody using anything but Capture One. This is the gold standard of tethering software. Seth can attest to that. But here's the problem. You ever look at a new piece of software and you get that used car lot feeling, like you step out of your car and you just step out into the parking lot, you see that salesperson cite you up and you go, oh crap, I forgot how much I hate this process. Like, I hate the process of learning new software. It's awful. So the cool thing about this is the folks at Capture One have done something really neat. One of the things I like the best about Capture One, thank you, Gavin, is that it is a modular design. So you can move anything around, really, and put it wherever you want. You can make certain tools invisible. You can reorder those tools in the order that you like to use them to make your workflow faster. And so the folks at Capture One made this beautiful little workspace. You can save multiple workspaces, by the way, called Migration. And what Migration does is it moves everything around so that it's in a place where you'd be used to if you were coming from like an Adobe product. So it's laid out a lot more like Bridge or Lightroom. And that's a great way to get started. I use a modified version of it, and I saved a workspace earlier where I have all the things I need. And all the tools I have over here are only the tools that I use for that specific job, and they're in the order that I like to use them from top to bottom. So you can actually reorder stuff. Like if you want to do the color editing first, you bring that right out to the top, and now it's there. You save that workspace. It's not going to go anywhere. So that's one of the things I really love. So if you do Santa photos, prom pictures, product photography, whatever it is, you can create a dedicated workspace specifically for that area of practice, and then you can save it. So now that we got Gavin logged into our system, let's head back over. Bend over. Thank you. Okay, I love that. These are people who have signed in. Gavin, Danger, Hoey. So here's the process. What you're going to do is you're going to, here we go. Here it goes. Guys, you are not letting me down out there in TV land. I knew you wouldn't. So all you do in Headshot Tools in the dashboard here.
You guys watch it. If you put something hectic in there, I got to cut this stream. It's on you.
Please be silly but not vulgar. All right. So let's go. I will swipe away quickly. All right. So all you do is you double click on the person in the dashboard. And now if you go to the tethering menu in in Capture One, you'll see now that Capture One is going to be renaming the photos with that person's name as you shoot, which is probably the most powerful thing about the software at the moment, is that no matter what happens, if you deliver a client all the photos and the name of the photo is the name of the person in the photo, they can find anybody's pictures just by looking at the names of the files. They don't have to look at the thumbnails. Yeah, bud.
I'm just going to shake it so you can see where it is.
Yep. All right, cool. Right, and so we are tethered, ready to rock and roll. And I'm going to use this beautiful light meter by Mr. Danger. Now, Gavin, if you would please come up right here, and I'm going to test these lights one at a time. This is the Flashpoint Explorer 600 Pro 2, and this is the Flashpoint Evolve Pro 2. And I'm going to measure these lights one at a time. And what's cool, one of the things I really like about this is that with this new nano trigger, the R2 nano trigger, you'll see that there's a green light up there, and a green light here, and a red light here, and a red light here. It's color-coded, so you can tell which light you're adjusting from across the room without having to go look at it. And that is, man, that's just clever. I really dig that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test this light. So we're at ISO 400 and shutter speed of 1/125th of a second. And I want this to be f8, and I'm not going to lie and tell you that I didn't test this already, but I'm going through the motions for the educational purposes. There we go. We're at f8, rock and roll. So now I'm going to test this light, and usually I'm using an edge light for a little separation from the background. I like this to be roughly, I start at about 2 stops below the main light. So if this is f8, where's this one going to go? Who said 4? Ah, nice job. See, that's how you do photo math. That's the hardest photography math ever gets. So congratulations. We're going to measure this. Thank you. And that's right bang on f4. Okay, so now we got a 2-stop difference. I believe edge light is really a season to taste thing, and minus 2 stops is just my personal starting point. If you feel like you need a little bit more, and that could change based on the lightness or darkness of the background, the hair of the person, what they're wearing, your particular mood, what you're trying to make it look like, all of that stuff changes. What you don't want to do, most of the time, 99% of the time, you don't want this to be brighter than this, okay? Most of the time. So starting 2 stops below is a great place to start out. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put the trigger back on. And all right, camera's fired up. This is the Fujifilm X-H2. And the lens is the Fujinon f2.8. It's a 50-140. So on a full frame camera, you're looking at roughly a 70 to 200 millimeter 2.8. On an APS-C sensor like this, it's 50-140. So let's go ahead and take the shot. Boom. Okay. So now we have it. A nice and easy, fast headshot gig. So what I've got here is the light's a little too high. I'm not getting the catch light I want to get. So I'm just going to pull this down a little bit so they get more of a catch light. I'm using this ridiculously large umbrella. And what that's doing is just going to make it so that you can't hardly screw it up, basically. But it gives you really soft light when you're up close. And when you're shooting volume, which I mostly do, it's very error-proof. So you get a lot more latitude with a larger modifier slightly further away for people of different heights, people with different face shapes, all kinds of stuff. It just makes the light a little softer, a little easier to work with. We've just got a little piece of white card here just to bounce back up. You'll see a lot of headshot photographers use this sort of reflector underneath or a light underneath. Just this like 50-cent piece of poster board does a lot of heavy lifting, although there are some more refined options out there. All right. Now we're going to do this. Oop, that's probably a little too low, don't you say? All right, there it is. It's always nerve-wracking to photograph a famous photographer like you, Gavin. Yeah, I know, man. Makes me nervous. All right, so I'm going to do another test real quick just to show you kind of the difference here when you're going to photograph it. There we go. So you see the difference where I've got a lot more light in his eyes, and everybody's face shape is a little bit different. And yeah, and he looks a little bit happier because I said he was handsome earlier, and he's really loving that kind of attention. Okay, so you'll notice also that the file name is his name. Now, this is what's really cool about headshot tools for that digital delivery. What happens is it will read that name. It has a unique 3-digit code as well as that name. It has already created a gallery to send Gavin's photos to. It's just waiting on me to send photos to it. So we'll get back to that later. Right now, I've got all the adjustments baked in to what I want to do. And now let's talk about the adjustments of printer. I shot a gray card, by the way, for the white balance. You know what? Season it to taste. Do your own level of retouching, whatever you want to do. One of the other things I really like about Capture One 2 here is that you'll see there's a new retouching panel, which will give you some really cool basic retouching stuff that you can do on the fly, and it will apply those adjustments as you intake pictures as well as changing the name. So essentially your photos are a lot closer to edited when they're done, which is kind of nice. One of the things I really like to do with some of their new tools is that there is you can actually use AI to select different portions of the image. It's called that layer masking, right? Well, it's got the ability, which I think is pretty neat, to select the background, and it does a pretty good job. And the reason I'd want to do this in this case, because you'll notice that Gavin's wearing this beautiful, absolutely stunning blue shirt. And so I want to make sure that we're going to create maybe a background that's a little more in line with kind of what he's wearing. There we go. There we go. We're going to saturation down a little bit. So now we've got a little better of a tone there, I think. Yeah, cool. Now what's cool is as I take more pictures, it will make that selection. It'll apply those retouches, blemish removal, under eye, all that stuff, and it'll do that on the fly. So that's a really cool way to be able to deliver images instantly that are a little more polished. And here's the best part, everybody. What I really like about the AI retouching tools that Capture One is adding is that they don't cost you any extra money. That's pretty nice, right? I think that's cool. Okay. Now, you'll notice also, let's talk about the printing. I'm going to now deliver photos, both digital and a print, and then I'm going to go backwards and show you how we actually built that out, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very much print this beautiful photo of Gavin, and then I'm going to also send it to his phone. All right, you might grab your phone real quick.
Your phone.
Nah, you don't have it with you?
I do, but I use, okay.
Well, you need your email. This is the impressive part. So I push one button. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how we accomplish this in just a second. And by the way, if you have any technical questions about this printer, we have a rep from DNP that is in the chat currently. There we go. See that? Beautiful. Isn't he handsome? Beautiful. Look how beautiful he is. All right. So one button push. Now, Gavin, do you have access to the email you signed up with?
No, because you didn't tell me I was going to put my real email.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Then we'll kick you out in a second. We'll use somebody else for the next impressive part. Yeah. Okay. So I had 2 photos selected, and they both printed. All right. So, Gavin, you're all done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Gavin, hoey, everybody. I've been following his career for the last couple of weeks, and let me tell you, I think he's going places. I'm really excited for that young man. All right. So all you have to do, take the picture, pick the ones you want to go, and then push a couple of buttons. And now he's going to have the digital photos and a print to take home. And there are a number of uses you can use for this. But before we start to go into that part of it, we'll take some maybe questions on ideas on how to use it. I want to show you how to actually build this out so that you can also do it. All right. We got a question?
No, Gavin's daughter's in the chat.
Oh, hey.
She says, very nice, Gavin.
Yep. All right.
So everybody seems to love you, and no one knows who Gary is. It's weird.
That's true.
It's weird.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you setting up a job in Headshot Tools, right, that you can use. So you basically, they create the job in seconds. Yeah, hit the question up.
So someone in the chat says they have the same printer, and when I set it up and send a file to the printer, they get a border. How do they prevent that?
We're going to do that. I'm going to show you how to add the border and how to not have the border. We're going to jump into that software next. What we need to do is we need to set up our digital delivery workflow. Then we're going to set up our printed workflow. And once that's running, you just shoot, export, and then you're done. All right, so you make up a job. We'll call this Adorama 2. And you give it what client you're working for? Seth. Big Head Miranda. Okay.
Come on.
There you go. All right.
Out of everything that
dude, I almost put something worse. But you do have kind of a large noggin. All right. So
It's bigger than
by default, all the settings are set up to essentially deliver files instantly. It's got all kinds of options, and you can check them out. I won't bore you with all that stuff at the moment. You can have people select images for retouching and all kinds of stuff. There's scheduling. You could deliver later. But right now, we're setting up as if we're going to be at an event where everybody gets the files right away. And that's the default settings. All you need to do is give the job a name, give it a logo, and then you're good to go. So now we're going to go into the job. And then you've got your QR code for signing up. And you're pretty much ready to go. All you need to do is activate the upload utility, which is right here. So I'll close it so I can show you. In Capture One, you have one of the coolest functions of Capture One is you have the ability to have multiple export recipes. So this means you can send out files of different sizes, dimensions, with different effects, with different edits applied to them, different orientations, different crops. And you can not only do that, but you can send multiple files to different folders or the same subfolders all at the same time. And this is where that power comes in to be able to do this with one person, because I'm going to send a digital file to Headshot Tools, and I'm going to send the printed file to the DNP hot folder application.
Someone's asking, is Capture One the only software you use?
It was, yes, Capture One is it. That's what I use for this. I really think that there's nothing better or simpler, more reliable or more affordable than this, and less complicated. All you're doing is you're shooting tethered, which Capture One does beautifully, and then you're going to export from it. Like, you don't have to buy another software, because this is the one that I use for pretty much everything in my studio already. So now what we're going to do is look at these export recipes. You just create a new one. I have one that says send to Headshot Tools. And so here's kind of a snapshot of it. Essentially what it does, it's going to send the files to the default output folder and into a subfolder called Headshot Tools. That's it. And so once that folder is ready to rock and roll, I'm going to go to my job that I just created. The upload utility. What's really cool about this is a web-based program, and the upload utility is a web-based hot folder application. So you don't have to download anything on your computer to make it work. So I'm going to point this at that folder. So we go to my desktop. I'm going to go to that job. I'm going to go to the output folder, and there's Headshot Tools. So we're going to select that, give it permission, and then that's running. And this is going to check that folder every 20 seconds until I tell it to stop. I can't read that. It says, I thought you were showing me a sign. You're like telling me to stop. Thanks, Akiva's just doing something cool. Akiva was doing social media, and I thought he was trying to tell me to stop. All right. So one of the things that I do is I have that running in a tab, and this works on any Chrome-based browser. So Chrome is the only browser that has the ability to watch a folder from a tab in a browser. Otherwise, you would have to download something onto your computer. The cool part is there's nothing to upload or nothing to upgrade, nothing to keep updated. It's just always there for you. And you can run it off of as many computers. So you've got a job with 6 stations. You can share it all across one account, which is pretty cool. All right. So what I'm going to do is, so that I don't accidentally close this and screw it up, I usually pull this tab off and I just minimize it, because you don't want to close it once it's running. That's the best part. It's just going to run. So now let's go over to our DNP. So if you have this, they just recently in the last year updated this software, so that if you, to answer that last question, do make sure that you have the latest version, because they massively improved the DNP hot folder software in the last year. So if you haven't updated it recently, please do that. So this is basically what you get when you open it up. You connect the printer. You'll see that I have this printer connected. Once you have those drivers installed, I think everybody's installed a printer at one point or another. If you need help with that, go ahead and email Gavin at gavinhoey.com. All right. So, yeah, go ahead, feed it to me.
So someone in the chat is asking, if, do you have recommendations on how to share or show the QR code the day of? Do you use another screen? Just print it out? What works best for you and your clients?
I'm going to get into that real quick. Is getting people into the system. Once I show you how we build the workflow, then I'm going to photograph everybody in this room, and we'll show you how I like to do that. No problem. All right, so all you need to do now is you got one printer hooked up, is you're going to go to settings. So the first thing you need to do is to tell it what folder to watch. So I have already created this folder, Adorama prints, and then it will create a folder. This is the part that can be slightly confusing, because this software knows what size images it's supposed to print by what folder you put it in. And so it's going to create a folder automatically inside the folder that you create that's going to be for each size print. And so I'm printing 5x7s. And so that is, all my images are going to have to go into that. So you'll see once you choose a folder for it, it's going to create this folder called prints. And then inside are going to be several folders inside for prints of different sizes. We're going to come back to that in a second. That's all you need to know. So I'm going to choose that Adorama prints folder, and that's the one it's going to watch. Now you have the opportunity to adjust the images, which I don't recommend. I'll usually do all those color adjustments in Capture One. And then you could put borders on the images. And you can also do a partial matte or a bug or a logo. You can put, Seth Sweet 16 on the bottom if you want to. You can create custom ones that even gives you the dimensions. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, if you have to choose the size. So you'll see for each border, and these are the ones that are default with the printer. So you can add, these are all just kind of generic party borders. If you pick the size, and we're going to pick 5x7, it will show you all the options you have for a 5x7. I have already created this Adorama border. I made this myself. But if you want to add a border, you can create custom ones. I did it in Photoshop by creating a transparent PNG. And it'll give you the dimensions, 2100 by 1500 at 300 DPI. That's a 5x7. And so you just need to create one for portrait in orientation and one for landscape orientation. But you do not have to use borders. If you want to turn your borders off, by the way, since we had that question, all you have to do is make sure when you go under borders, what might be happening is it's possible that you have selected a border previously or one was on by default, and maybe you don't even see that it's selected. Make sure that you have the right size media that you're trying to shoot with, and you'll find it selected, and all you got to do is uncheck it, and now you're no longer adding borders to the images. All right, so I've got this Adorama border that I made, both horizontal and vertical, and then we're good to go. So then we just back out, and that's pretty much it. You point it at a folder, you pick a border if you want to, and now it's automatically running. And any images that I put in that folder, it's going to print. And so if you go to Capture One, whoop, there we go. And I'm going to select this image. And I go to the Send to Print recipe, which is the one that I have created. And you can see that all you have to do is under the export location, you're going to choose a specific folder. And I'm going to go into that Adorama prints, and I'm going to select 5x7. That's the folder we're going to choose. And once you do that, you're good to go. And then once you send an image there, it should, fingers crossed, print that image. All right, yeah. Look, hey, Mazel Tov. How about that? All right, very cool. Nice and easy, everybody.
How many prints can you get per event?
Great. It's the number of prints that you can get out of this is going to depend on the size of the media. Would you sign that for me? Thank you. Please autograph that. Here, I got a Sharpie. Would you mind? Thank you, sir. And we're also, if you don't win the Fujifilm X-Half camera today, you are also going to win an autographed portrait of Gavin Hoey. All right. Everybody will get it. In fact, I'll print 6 more right now.
They're oversized trading cards, actually.
We're actually creating an Adorama TV host trading card set. It's going to be great. Yeah, that actually would be good. And you could do the pictures for them.
Oh, great. I got to do work now.
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, so now let's get into the process. What we have to do is get the person's information into the system along and attach it to their photo. So let's do that. So now we've got headshot tools running in the upload folder, and we've got the hot folder watching the right place. All we have to do now, everything's running in the background. All you have to do is take pictures and send them to the right place, okay? So let's go ahead and see who, before I pull up the dashboard, Seth, I'm going to pull over here and I'm going to let you look at the dashboard. Oh, I think everybody's pretty good. All right, we don't have anything dirty in there right now. So this is a live page. This is your dashboard queue. Anybody who signs into Headshot Tools will be automatically added. This page is self-refreshing. And there are a couple of different ways to use it if you want to. But is anybody in this room on that list yet? No? Okay. So what I'm going to have you do, Benny Miggs, if you would, please. I'm going to have you sign in. All right. There you go. So just scan that. So with headshot tools, there are a couple of ways to get people into the system. We use what's called a pre-linking system. So imagine a lot of times what happens is you might create a QR code that sends someone to a generic gallery, right? And you take their picture and then you sort of display that QR code to be like, go get your pictures here. At that point is when they would put in their information or maybe use some kind of facial recognition to go find the photos. That's called a post-linking. You take their picture first, and then they go sign in to go fish for their pictures. And there are various levels of sophistication as far as that's concerned. But I will tell you this, no matter what system you use, at some point, if you're doing volume delivery, that person is going to have to type in some stuff to get their pictures. There's pretty much no getting around that. They're going to have to respond to a text message or an email, whatever it is. So the easiest way for us to do it is, since you're probably going to have a line, they just do it while they're waiting in line, and then it's done forever, and the images get sent to them directly. That's called pre-linking, and that's how we do it. So go ahead. Benny, are you signed in? All right, great. So let's go ahead and go to our dashboard. The easiest way to display this, there are a couple, is I usually just print an 8x10. So what's cool is if you go into your job detail right here and you click on print.
Does that list populate live?
It does. That is a live populating list. That is an auto refreshing page. So this is basically an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper already formatted. So all you have to do is click print. We homeschool our kids, so as you might imagine, as a homeschool family, we make our own clothes. It's very, as a homeschool family, we have a laminating machine. Sunday is laminating day, baby. That's when you get all the hot laminating done, is on Sundays. And so I will print just this on a regular sheet of paper, and I laminate it. I usually make 2 of them, and I have a little $8 stand that I bought on Amazon that you just literally for trade show signage, and you just slip it in there. You can also display the sign up QR code on an iPad. You can do any number of ways you want to do it. I like to just have paper because an iPad is something else I have to keep charged. A lot of these jobs I'm like 8-10 hours, and that's one more cord to run, one more thing to keep charged. I also download that QR code and I keep it on my phone and display it in my photo gallery. And so if somebody comes up and they somehow missed the big sign at the end of the queue, I will literally just go like that and they can scan the QR code off my phone. In addition to that,
Hang on.
you having trouble with the thing? Did we go down in a blaze of glory? You let me know. All right, I'll tap dance while you do that. The other thing that you can also do is if you get a list, like if I go photograph a bunch of lawyers or something, like 20 people, if they send me a list in advance of the names and email addresses of the people, I can preload that from a CSV file into it so there's no sign-up process at all. So that pre-link. And so what happens when somebody signs in, it creates an individual gallery for them automatically. So everybody's images go to them privately and to no one else. And then you also get a master gallery that you can send to your company contact, to the person that hired you, in order to let them have all the photos at once in one click. But basically, each person is the only person who gets to see their photos, that and the person that hired you, if you so choose. So are we back up?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I just want to share people's emails.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to dox people. That's no big deal. All right, so we have back to the dashboard. All right, so I'm going to click on Benny. All right, Benny, come on down. Everybody, local photographer, artist, lover of women. Benny Miggs, come on down. Oh, man. All right, come right on up. There you go. So now you'll notice, we're back live. I like this, by the way, is a really cool little feature in Capture One, is when you are connected, it just lights up green up here. There's no like guessing. Cool thing with Capture One is, and please work. Don't break on me. There's no like tether to start or stop. You plug the camera in and you're tethering. You unplug the camera and you're not tethering. There we go. And there it is. See, we're tethering. We're ready to go. And it gives you your camera and all your information right there. All right. So let's. I think we just came undone.
What is going on?
I don't know. We're losing some. Maybe we got too many things plugged into it. There we go. All right, we're good. Seth, don't you dare. Don't you put that voodoo on me. Everything's going to go well.
Yeah, well, I don't got you. So
All right, you let me know. There's also another HDMI over here that you can try if you like. All right, so we're going to go through the process, and I'm going to photograph anybody who wants to be photographed, and you will get the images delivered to you instantly, and you'll also get a beautiful photograph just in time for Mother's Day. All right, here we go. Wait, we missed Mother's Day already. Oh, crap, I forgot to call my mom. All right, there we go. All right, Benny, turn your head a little bit into the light, a little straighter in the back and looser in the shoulders. Man. All right, tilt a little this way. There you go. And now reach out to me with your chin just a touch. Thanks, Benny. All right. And boom, 2, and turn your head slightly left. There it is. And now give me a little bit of more a hey girl, hey smile. This one's your new Tinder profile picture. There it is. I love that. Nicely done. Okay. Okay. All right. So we've got these all. I'm going to send this one immediately. All right. So in this case, I'm going to go to the export recipes, and I'm going to select Send to Headshot Tools, and this is for the file delivery. And I'm going to go ahead and pick 1, 2, 3, 4 photos. And what I really like in this program in particular is that unlike Lightroom, for example, if you want a keyboard shortcut for exporting images, it's like Control, Shift, tilde, minus, spacebar, escape, and then you got to hit the mouse with your elbow. Capture One is just Command E, or Command D rather, and it just exports. But it will export whatever recipes you have selected. So make sure that you've only got one selected. Now, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this other recipe. This is going to be Send to Print. And again, this is going to send it right to that folder. And we're going to go ahead and Command. I'm not going to print all 4 of those, but I am going to print my favorite. There it is. Okay. So you photograph somebody, and in just a couple of seconds, you can deliver both digital files and you can deliver prints. And you can deliver prints. There it is. Woo! All right. Benny, would you? Okay. Did you get your pictures?
I don't have my glasses on right now.
Oh, you don't have your glasses on. All right. Refresh that real quick.
No tray, huh?
Look at this. I just want everybody at home to see this. Look at this. Gavin Huey signed this for me. And there we go.
Hoey.
Gavin Huey. I don't know why I keep saying Huey. There you go.
Beautiful.
Make sure you're connected to the internet. Yeah. All right. Now, we're going to refine this a little bit, and I'm going to show you one more thing. So this is called the Stream Deck Neo. Now, Seth's got a big boy one over there somewhere. This is a very popular device, the Stream Deck, with streamers who often do live broadcasts where they have to do multiple things, change camera angles. But essentially what it is it's just a device that has programmable LED buttons. And so what this does is this can take complicated multi-step tasks and turn them into one button push. So did you see before how I wanted to send the digital file and I wanted to send the prints to the printer? I only wanted 1 print. I didn't want to give Benny 6 prints, but I did want to send him 6 digital files. So if I'm manually sending both of those at the same time, that's going to go through a lot of media, and he's not going to really love that. However, you can print multiples at the same time, but you have to select the recipe, export it, unselect it, select the other one. So what's cool about this, if you go into the Stream Deck software, you have the ability to program the buttons. And so if you look at a button like this print button, you can use JavaScript or AppleScript to program multi-stage complex tasks, which is pretty cool. And so instead of having to select and unselect from Capture One, all I'm going to do is select the image I want, and I'm going to push Send to Headshot Tools, and then I'm going to push Send to Print. No selecting, no unselecting, because the specific name of the specific export recipe is listed in that code. And you're going to go, Gary, I am a genius, but I never learned how to write AppleScript or JavaScript. And I'll go, it's okay, Pete Coco. I got you, bud. Because what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a couple of resources to do this. And incidentally, you know, we live in a world where handsome men like this aren't married. Look at this. Look, it's BennyMigsPhoto.com. If you're single and you think that that is your speed, let me tell you, he's a lovely guy. He's quiet. He's gainfully employed, and as far as I know, he has no children and has never murdered anyone. All right. Here you go, Biddy. If you would please autograph this to raffle.
Gary, you got a question?
All right, shoot.
Can you not have both export recipes checked, or do you have to manually click on one, export it, and then click on the selection and select the other option?
Absolutely. You can absolutely have multiple. That's one of the great things about Capture One is you can select 50 export recipes and it will rock all of them out in one keystroke. It really depends on what you're doing. Let's say you're doing like a daddy-daughter dance and you want to print 5 different images and you also want to send digital versions of those 5 images. All you need to do is select them and make sure both export recipes are checked, like so. If I have send to print and send to headshot tools both selected, it will run both of those things at the same time for whatever images you have selected when you push Command D to export. So, however, you may be in an event like I am where I'm photographing headshots, because we do a couple of conferences where they print them and put them on a wall as like a cool display and give them to people. You may not want to print 5 or 6 headshots at a time. So if you're sending them the same digital files as the number of prints that you're giving them, then all you need to do is select those images, hit Command D with both export recipes selected, and you're done. If you want to deliver a different number of digital files and prints, you will need to either select one recipe at a time or program something like this. And so I'm going to give you a couple of resources in case you're in that situation. So let's go back to my keynote here for a second. And what I want to do is give you this. So if you sign up for my email list, you are going to get the AppleScript version of the send to print. And all you have to do is copy and paste that. You'll get an email immediately, and you can program a stream deck that way if you want to. We'll leave that up for a couple of seconds. However, I have to give credit where credit is due. This entire system wasn't my idea. I learned this from my friend and business partner, Dave Kalmbach, outside the Toronto area. He is one of the finest photographers working today and somebody I have learned a tremendous amount from. And he has put together a page also where he has, it's called the headshot method. And this is his workflow scripts and automations for Capture One. So you can go check this out. I don't want to use the things that I learned from him without giving him credit and the opportunity for you to learn from him too. So he has an educational platform called the Headshot Method, and this is the link directly to his Capture One automations for headshot photographers, which will include the scripts to both send to print, et cetera, et cetera. So if you need help, you just want to plug in and play and done for you, use the Headshot Method, or if you are a JavaScript genius, just like Akiva is, then you won't need it. That's all you got there. So hopefully those resources will help you out. And I'll show those up again at the end. So let's do this one more time. Let's run through this workflow. Who else in here signed in? Let's see. Pete Coco, come on down. Oh, man, this is like a cavalcade of beautiful, famous photographers. Pete Coco, everyone. Make sure we got this. Job settings here. We are good. All right. There we go. All right. So we are going to dashboard. We clicked on Pete. All right. And you'll notice now that if we're in the tethering menu, you will see in the preview that it's going to be Pete's name is going to be the name of the file as soon as I take the picture. It's important to note that the file names happen on tether, not on export. They change the file names as you shoot. So, all right. Are you ready?
I have to lower everything.
Pete just got back. He was teaching a workshop for a couple of days in Ohio. So he's been traveling for the last few days, and he just came out here just to say hi. And so thanks, buddy. All right. All right. And he also has an educational platform called the Portrait Community. That's definitely worth checking out. All right. If you want to learn how to use a beauty dish better than anyone has ever used a beauty dish, it's this is the guy. Yeah. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So come a tiny bit closer, right there, perfect. Up straight, relax shoulders. You know how to stick your chin out? Stop it. I know you learned from Peter Hurley. Stop sticking your chin out so much. I'm just kidding. You're beautiful. All right, there you go. One, and tilt a little bit this way. Ooh, I like that. Now add that tiny smile to it. Beautiful. Good. And now I want you to look at me. Hi. Oh, gave me an angry face. All right, now go this way just a little bit. Straight, tall. And now I want you to bring your chin forward and down that way and tilt your head a little bit this way. And now take a breath and relax your shoulders. Beautiful, Pete. Now add just a tiny hint of a smile pushing in the corners of your mouth. Let it invade the bottoms of your eyes ever so slightly. Turn back left just a little bit. There we go. Chin up a millimeter. Boom. Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Pete. Now what we're, yeah. You got another
Someone in the
question?
chat's asking, when you shoot high volume, how often do you adjust the lights and settings depending on different people?
That's a great question. We'll dig deep into some lighting stuff here in a second. I'd be happy to answer that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select these 6 images that I want Pete to get digitally, and I'm going to send those to Headshot Tools. Let's check on that upload utility actually, so you can kind of see what happens when those files hit it. I'll refresh it for you.
Someone's asking, can you send the digital file through WhatsApp?
Through WhatsApp?
Yeah.
No, no. I just email. Like the problem is with WhatsApp is like not everybody has it. You know, usually people who have international relatives. All right, so there you see all those files that say Coco_Pete. Those have now been uploaded directly to the job, and it's going to check that folder again every few seconds, every 25 seconds. And now I think that this one is the most beautiful, the one I'd like to have him autograph for me. And so I'm going to send that to print with one push of a button. And then and then that's it. Did you get the, okay, can you open that up and come over here to the camera and just show your phone? So Pete already has those digital files on his phone. This camera right here, get close to it. Get real close, get up to it. See? Yeah, already got his files on his phone. So now we did both a digital delivery and a print. There it is. All right, here, somebody give Pete that Sharpie so we can autograph that thing, and we'll give that away later. Pete, you're done. Thank you. Okay, so a couple of things about volume photography for pacing. That's totally going to be up to you. Some people can photograph somebody every 60 seconds. Some people like to spend a little more time. That's a question I can't answer for you. What I can tell you is that when we're at full tilt doing a corporate event, we'll usually photograph about 40 people an hour. And we can go faster than that depending on how much help I have. So if I've got a full crew, I've got a person who's doing greeting and helping people sign in. I've got me taking the photos, and I've got somebody doing the selection and export. When you split it into 3, it does go a little bit faster. And so depending on the size of the job, I recommend you might want to get an assistant to do it. But this whole system is designed so that you could absolutely do it by yourself. Now, when it comes to lighting, I will very often use a large parabolic umbrella like this. This is a Glow 60-inch. Is that right, Seth? Is that what we put on it? I think that's a Glow 60-inch umbrella, white interior, because that's nice and soft with a white diffuser cover on the outside. And generally speaking, we're kind of in a relatively small space, which funny enough, headshot photographers are used to working in very small spaces, right? But if you're in a corporate event, very often you have more room than this. And so for the sake of not having to adjust the light for things like reflections in eyeglasses, for 6-footer and then a 5-footer coming right after them, I will typically keep that light a little further back than I might if I was in the studio and I wasn't moving quite as quickly. I will back that up, which is one of the reasons why I like to use such a large modifier, is because with that large modifier, the size of the modifier is always relative to the distance it is from your subject. So if you take a great big modifier and you move it a couple feet away and a couple feet up in the air, it's still a pretty damn big modifier. But if you have a very tiny modifier, because you're thinking, oh, it's individual headshots, then what you're gonna, and you back it up, the light's gonna get a little bit harder, which you might have to compensate for either in editing or in fill light or reflectors. And so I like nice, soft, easy, dumb light for these large scale events. I'm not going for award winning. I'm going for, you get a very, very functional LinkedIn headshot. Because if you know what muggles think, and muggles are non-photographers, we're obviously wizards and the non-photographers are muggles. If you are thinking in terms of what muggles think about photography, they care much more about their expression than they do about the intricacies of the difference between a light that is 2 feet away and a light that is 6 feet away. Not to say that you want the pictures to look bad, but I would much rather have to bring that light up and down and back and forth less on a volume job, because very often that person in front of me didn't hire me. Someone else did. And when they look at the end of the day, how many people did you photograph? You know, so, and I will photograph fewer people if I've got a full day, if I'm going between each person and having to move the light up and down and back and forth. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions on that so far? Okay, what about you guys in here? Do you guys want to know anything about how this works? You want to watch me set it up again? Okay, so who's going to go next? Seth, did you say, Pete, that is a pretty solid picture of you, buddy. I'll take it. All right. Let's go back to the dashboard. All right. Anybody? Oh, Joseph. Come on, man. Come on down. Boom. All right.
Yay, Joseph.
All right, Joseph. All right, one of our Adorama family here. All right, I'm going to push this up a little bit. We slipped a
For
little.
those of you guys that don't know, Joe is actually our in-house product photographer for all the Flashpoint product, scuba, everything in-house is shot by this guy right here.
Yeah. All right, Joseph. Now we're in Capture One still, and you'll see that when I click on that, double click on that dashboard in Headshot Tools, that the next photo is now going to be named for Joseph. All right. Now we're going to do that and see how it goes. Now, one of the things that I'll typically do is, I get this question all the time. People ask me, what do you do about the glare in glasses? And honestly, not a lot, because it's not as bad as it used to be. When I first did this, everybody's glasses reflected like cheap readers from Walgreens. But now, like if you get your glasses from Costco, every pair of reading glasses to the more expensive ones to the cheap ones, they got a pretty good anti-glare on them. It's a lot less expensive of an upgrade than it used to be. But typically what you're talking about in a setup like this, where you have a light overhanging and you have a reflector coming up, what's going to happen is the reflection of the glasses is going to depend on the angle of his head and the plane of those glasses, right? But that's also affected by the distance between these two things that are going to possibly be reflected in it. So another great reason to keep those things slightly further apart from one another is what you do is you actually create a larger alleyway, because a lot of times you just have to move the head into the right position where the glare does not exist. And you get a much greater chance of doing that when these things are a little bit further apart. If you got them right here, you're just not going to be able to. Or if you use lights that are right on top of them, you're going to have to do that thing that they had to do in the 90s where you made people with glasses take their glasses off for photos. But we don't have to do that anymore. Not the 90s. Although I wish it was. The music was better, right?
Much better.
It was so much better.
Someone's asking if you still do podcasts with Bure.
If I no, the Photobomb podcast lasted for 10 years, and that's basically like a career. Although all the episodes are still up. Don't worry, we're still friends. I talk to Bure all the time. All right, let's do a quick test. I usually don't do a test shot because did anything change? Nothing changed, right? So like, why do I need a test shot? The only time I'll do test shots is if someone has glasses, just to see if the reflections are any kind of an issue. Now here in this image of Joseph, you will see that in the top right, anatomical right, you'll see that there is a slight reflection in the glasses, right? So let's, Joseph, just bring your chin down just a little bit, a little more right there. And now what's going to happen is let's see if it picks up in the bottom. All right, so now it's picked up in the bottom a little bit. Now this is a really, really subtle reflection. This wouldn't bother me at all in a volume headshot situation. It really wouldn't. But what we'll do is show you how I might do it live if I had to. So I'm going to lower this and raise this. And in this situation, it's very possible you might have to compensate for your exposure. It might be a little darker. What I recommend in this situation is to change your exposure, because we're locked in, right? Change your exposure by adjusting your ISO, not by changing your aperture or your shutter speed. What that's going to do, it's going to give you the same field of view, the same depth of field. It's going to give you the same subject-background relationship, but all you're doing is making the sensor slightly more or less sensitive to light. The secondary effect is not going to be noticeable of a slightly higher ISO. It's a much smarter move than anything else. And you don't want to change, really, you want the background to look pretty consistent from person to person. All right, so now, be straight, Joseph. Relax shoulders, and bring your chin forward and down just a touch, and now relax them, though. Instead of like that move, I want you to imagine that I'm talking too quiet, and you're like, what? Yeah, there it is. Ooh, look at that, sexy eyebrow. Tilt your head a little this way. Turn your head a little this way. There he is, this way. See, and relax your shoulders. There you are. Now, bring your chin down a centimeter. There you go. And the reason I say centimeter instead of an inch is because Gavin doesn't know what an inch is. And so he's visiting from the UK, so we have to use a metric system. Is that okay? Yeah, okay. Turn your head. Yeah, it's a Royale with cheese. All right. We're doing what I have you do is turn this way just a tiny bit for me. Sorry, that way. There you go. All right, Joseph. Perfect. Ooh, I like that angle. That's great angle on you.
Can you package print different sizes, like a 5x7 and a 4 wallets in Capture One?
Oh, great question. All right, give me just a second on that. A little straighter in the back, looser in the shoulders. And don't lean from your waist. Just use your chin forward and down a little bit. Turn your head this way. All right. Now I want you to think about Magnum PI with no shirt on. Yes. Oh, there. Dun 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 dun. Oh, all right, good. Tilt a little bit this way. Now, somebody who loves you, for some reason, there's a deranged person in your life that's going to be mad if you don't show me your teeth. That's not good enough. Need to go to 11. Do you have food in it? I got a toothpick in my pocket. Would that work? No. It's individually wrapped. Turn this way just a little bit. Straight. Relax. Tilt. Chin down. There you go. All right. Small smile, no teeth. Let it creep into the corners of your mouth there. Good. And now, turn your head a little bit this way. There it is. Relax your shoulders. Give me one full smile like you're all done. No. Like, there it is. Thank you. All right. Perfect. Great job, Joseph. And now I'm going to send him some photos. All right. Oh, this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. That's what you get. All right. All right, I'll send him some other ones. So now I've selected the ones I want to send. Go send to headshot tools. Now those are going to go to his email. And I'm going to pick my favorite for the print. Oh, look at, he's so soulful. Love that one. Which one do you want to autograph for me? Ooh, that's got the sexy eyebrow. We'll go with that one. And we'll send that to print. And you're all done.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Joseph, everybody. All right. There we go. Okay. Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. I like this one too. You can have that in your email as well. And that's it. It's literally like double click, shoot, export, double click, shoot, export. And people are getting prints. Now, let's talk about potential applications. I think you guys kind of get the point of the workflow, right? You get like the software and how all that works. We got 2 different pieces of software watching 2 different folders, and you can shoot images to those different folders right from inside Capture One. Once you got it set up, it's not much different than just taking people's pictures. Oh, look at that. What a snack. All right, who's got that Sharpie? Thank you, Pete. I'm going to have these, by the way. These will be for sale after. We just got a few minutes left. All right, so the couple of places you can use this technique. You can use it at weddings to create a photo booth situation. You can use this at quinceañeras, bar mitzvahs, headshots, corporate events. One of the big things I use this a lot is actually sort of a luxury photo booth at corporate events. So think about that as like, who's the guy that does the Oscar photos, the incredible guy who always does, yeah, Mark Seliger, yeah. Like you could do that. If you pitch that to a client and everybody gets to go home with one of these, the next logical step is literally just like order a couple of pre-printed 5x7 image folders with the logo of the organization on it, and you have an assistant stuffing these as you go through. This printer, I think, goes for about $900 or so USD on the Adorama store. There's a link to it, which I'll put up there. But I literally will charge probably to do a full set of media, like 250 prints. Probably charge about $2,000 for that. And so we do that like a dozen times a year. So the investment would be like maybe the $100 for each of those media and the printer itself to make quite a lot of money. One of the things that I think happens in the world we live in today, digital, social media, and all of that's wonderful. You can see it's very important to me to deliver for people to deliver those files. As people come into the industry, right, it creates more and more competition. Does it ever feel overcrowded to you in the photo industry? Like it is for me. I've been teaching people how to do volume headshot photography for 15 years. And I had to discover last year that I all of a sudden went from 2 competitors to 20 just in my market. And it's my own fault. Like, don't feel bad. It's a self-inflicted wound, all right? But here's the thing. Come and get me, because I'm going to figure out how to continue to outpace you. And my next idea is always going to be the thing that's going to make me, not only am I going to book jobs and I'm going to make more money than you, I'm going to do it shooting fewer jobs than you are. Because that's my dream, right? Is to spend more time with my kids, to have coffee with my wife in the morning, to have dinner with my kids at night. I'm not going to be working editing images at 2 in the morning. I'm not going to be working on any day I don't want to. So if you can make more money on one job, you're going to be in a better place, right? And sometimes the best thing you can do for your clients is to give them something that they didn't think of first. So I can't tell you how many times most clients are not going to come to you and ask for this. And that's just the truth. People are not kicking my door in to do 5x7 prints at their events. But if they're booking me for event photography coverage, if they're booking me for headshots, if they're booking me for anything, or just to come out to their photo and do a group photo of their board of directors at an event, I'm always going to suggest other things they can do that make their event better. Because what's the point of an event? What does an event need?
Differentiation.
Okay, absolutely. But they need differentiation, right? But they also need to make it a really good experience, right? They need activations, because one of the things that happens at these events is they're trying to create a great experience and to generate leads, right? That's what they're doing. And so when you're collecting their information in a system like Headshot Tools, you are generating leads that you can then provide to the client. Every piece of information that they put into that form, you can export as a CSV after and hand that to the client. Be like, here's a list of everybody that went through this activation and their contact information. In addition to that, people are leaving with something like an autographed portrait of Gavin Hoey. All very exciting stuff, or whatever, however you choose to use it. But I will tell you, 9 times out of 10, I suggest this to clients. And one of the ways we could actually sell this is we use this with events where we volunteer, like for our local Chamber of Commerce. We work on a couple of local political campaigns and we show up to their events. And if you come out with this and you're handing people something tangible in a world where nothing is tangible, you are going to differentiate yourself by people who think that this isn't important anymore. And if you think that this autographed portrait of Gavin Hoey isn't going to go on my dashboard of my car for the rest of my life, you are mistaken. These things are important. If you touch it, you have to have it. Like, for example, if you go to Adorama, they're going to try to put a camera in your hands because they know, and once you touch it, that you're probably going to want to buy it. Okay, any questions on that? Yeah, in the back.
So when these headshots are going in that folder, is there something you say that they're being retouched?
Oh, great question. Are they being retouched? Well, that is going to be up to you. There are several different ways to retouch images in a workflow like this. But I do the retouching on the import while tethering, which is another one of the reasons I really like Capture One. It has some really killer retouching stuff in here. Some pretty basic stuff. It can remove blemishes. It can reduce dark circles under the eyes. It can even up your skin. It can contour the light on your face. It can retouch teeth. It can make irises look really good. Not only that, but you could use the layer masking to select certain parts of the images. One of the things I like to do is use the layer mask to select the sclera or the whites of the eyes, like if you go into people masking. And this is what I call the hangover cure. You can see it's already pre-selected. So obviously Joseph just hit it really hard last night, right? And so, sorry, did we lose it again? That's okay, be patient. So what that does is that will use AI tools to select portions of the image. It doesn't actually AI manipulate the pixels. That AI masking, it's just a smart way of being, that's the head, those are the eyes, those are the clothes, that's the body skin, that's the facial skin. How we doing? All right. And I usually just select the sclera and then reduce the saturation. And what's cool about all this stuff, it will do it on the fly as you import. And there are plenty of software that will use these kinds of tools to do retouching. But this one is not only already included in the editing software that I already use, but it doesn't cost you any extra money and it does it all on your machine, which is pretty cool. So you don't have to have additional software in it, and it's not costing you like 8 cents an image. This is $0. And so, and they are getting more sophisticated as they go. So just to give you an idea what that looks like kind of before and after. So here is with, let's go into the retouching tab, remove some blemishes just to kind of so you can visually see. This is the image straight out of camera. And this is going to be with that retouch in there. So it does a really nice job of cleaning it up without making it look like a psychotic mannequin, like an Instagram model. This is going to be a pretty natural retouch. It does a really good job. So that's one of the reasons I really love it. Try to keep as few pieces of software in the chain as possible, right? And also, I'm already paying for this. I don't want to pay for anything else in addition to it. Is that
Also,
all?
there's a 7-day free trial. If you want to try out an image of yourself, download for 7 days and run your own images through it and see how it affects your images.
Yes,
Capture
Capture One. And what's cool with Capture One too, they have an option to do their subscription at various levels, but they also have the you can actually buy a perpetual license. So it's limited on updates, but if whatever you buy the newest version, and then I think you can upgrade every couple of years if you want to for a reduced fee. So if you're ever tired of being subscription to death, you can also do that option, which is pretty cool.
Bought an older version, say a couple of years ago, and this is available. Update that.
Great question. If you have an older version of Capture One that maybe has been gathering a little dust and you want to give it a look-see, I do believe that if you'd have to ask them. I'm not an ambassador or anything like that. You'd have to ask them. But I do believe that there is you can upgrade for a reduced price. Incidentally, a lot of companies like Adorama are resellers for that perpetual license. So you might look at your local camera store like Adorama and see what they're offering it for as well, because they are very often third-party resellers for these software. And you could buy a license, and very often some will have sales on them.
I'll say if you are looking to buy a new camera, there are like bundles where you get it for like free or half or something like that.
Yeah, certain cameras, yeah. They used to do that with the Fuji cameras for a while, didn't they? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Questions? Yeah, shoot.
Going back to your first year in business, what is one thing you wish you had done sooner and something you wish you could have avoided at that time?
What's your name?
Don Wilson.
Don Wilson? I'm Gary. Nice to see you. That's a great question. I get this question a lot. And I think the answer changes the longer I'm in business. But what would I do my first year in business differently if I started now? And I think this is something that you can deal with. Let's say you move to a new market. And I think about this sometimes because I do coach photographers when they're looking to get into this business. My specialty is teaching photographers who come from the portrait wedding world how to speak corporate, how to go into that B2B marketplace. And so I've gone through this exact process. So I guess the best piece of advice I would give you is you have to be a business owner who sells the product and service of photography and not be a photographer. I will tell you, I can count on one hand the amount of artist type photographers who get to retire, who have a paid for house, who have money that works for them when they're not working. The sacrifice you make to go into the artist business model of photography, that is you, Don Wilson, photographic artist, is everybody who hires you expects you, Don Wilson, photographic artist. So you can build a business like this headshot photography thing, volume, school and sports, whatever it is, and nobody will necessarily expect you to be the one pulling the cart. So just treat your business more like you're the owner. Initially, you're going to be the talent, the help, but I believe you should, if you want to make this a long-term, the reason I've been a professional photographer for 20 years is because I never wanted to be the only one working in my business forever. And the cool part is, while I'm here with you, my studio manager is booking work. Photographers that work for me are shooting work that he booked. And I am climbing mountains in Colorado with my kids last week while all that's happening. And would I be able to do that if I was the artist type? So the main thing I think that photographers need to do sometimes is to let go and stop being so precious about their art. Because if you've got a 6-figure business working behind you that you don't have to work 60 hours a week to support, like, you can take your camera like a dentist and go to some beautiful place across the sea and take all the art you want. And you can sell it in an art gallery and just be the artist you want to be. But you got Don Wilson's School and Sports Photography, LLC, is making money for you while you're in the beautiful beaches of Saint-Tropez. You good with that? Best piece of advice I got. Anybody else?
Do you have timeshares for sale that I can jump into,
not.
Gary? No? What's the matter? Do you want to answer that package question finally? It's asked it twice. Can you do package print 5x7 and wallets?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, Cooley Priestley. What you can do is there are more sophisticated printers and more sophisticated printing programs. And what I would like you to do is, do we still have Terry in there in the chat, the DNP guy? Because this is the full extent to which I use the full extent to which I use this printer is to print 5x7s or 6x9s or 3x5s. But you can absolutely do it. In fact, there are tools within the DNP software family that will enable you to do more sophisticated packages and things. But I honestly haven't done it. Sometimes the answer is, I wish I knew everything, but I don't. But there are DNP people in the chat that will be able to direct you more specifically.
Last question. Someone's asking, how do you handle personal data for activations?
Great question. For activations, that's going to depend on a number of factors. Some clients are more concerned with data security than others. And the more I work in the corporate world, we do get that question a lot, specifically in the world of AI and facial recognition. That is probably the primary reason that we didn't build headshot tools around facial recognition, because we're getting more and more companies, including like Amazon and plenty of other companies, that don't want this used for their clients. So if you're using a system that relies on facial recognition, you're essentially storing biometric data. And when you're doing this activation, you're taking their name and email, which isn't really that big of a deal, but data security is important. So all of the data in the system is encrypted at rest on US AWS servers. And so we can provide that based on a release. So one of the things that we do is if you go into the job and you want to customize a sign-up form, you can put a terms of service and a model release right in the sign-up form, so everybody you photograph has to consent to it. Now, what you can do is you can make that required, so you don't photograph anyone who hasn't consented, or you can make it not required, and then if you go back to the job itself, you can use a CSV file. You can export a CSV, and one of the fields in the CSV file is going to be whether or not they consented to the release. And then you can sort that CSV, delete the fields for the people who did not consent, and only give those who did consent to the client. Does that make sense? That's nice and easy. Now, it couldn't be any more low-tech and simple than that. Like, all you have to do is sort a spreadsheet and do that. There's a little bit of like, you're kind of on your honor, to be honest. But then again, if people sign a thing, they're all grown ups. So I like to always put the terms of service, which includes a model release, and myself, Adorama, Fujifilm, DNP, etc. So that's going to be up to you, but that's how we do it. And I never hand over anyone's data who doesn't want me to, because I'm not a data pirate. I'm a totally different kind of pirate. All right. Any other questions? Is that it? Are we out of time? So Gavin asked me at the beginning, he said, how are you going to make this last for an hour? What we just met today, he has no idea. I could talk about broccoli for an hour. I can do it. Like, you guys know me, right? Okay. So if that's not, keep hitting up the questions in the chat. I will try to get back to those later and answer anybody else. But again, thank you to DNP for providing the printer, Fujifilm for providing the camera. Brandon, you're the best. And thank you to my wife for allowing me to be here with you guys. And she's flying across the country with our 4 kids all by herself to go back home. And so I'm going to hang out for a little bit if you guys have questions. And if you're really interested in building that kind of business that Don and I were just chatting about, I do have a website where I have a full roadmap to a 6-figure headshot photography business. It's called The Business of Headshots. I know that Benny's in that. And so it's businessofheadshots.com. Go check it out. There's even a free resources page, absolutely free, that will give you, I'm taking all of the content, headshot-related content I've made on the internet, and I'm making reference guides that you can download for free right on the website. So just go to businessofheadshots.com.
Your email list.
All right, we'll do the email list and QR code one more time. All right, so here is, by the way, here's the headshot method, where you can get the scripts pre-written and done for you, the workflows for Capture One. And then here is my email list. And this is where you will get the Apple script version of that send to print export recipe that you can use for your Stream Deck. And also, I have a weekly email newsletter that I've been sending out for 12 years. Benny has gotten every single one of those emails. Every week, I just say, here's the new video I'm coming out with. Here's a pro tip for your business. Here's gear that I'm using. It's just to keep in touch so you know where I'm going to be and what I've got going on. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you. Thanks for braving the weather.